Hey guys, welcome back to the channel Chasing 45. It's me, Lyman, and here with Bryce. We're going to be talking about equipment today. So what do I use for racket strings, even shoes, and we'll talk about what Bryce uses as well. And yeah, we'll just kind of go through what we use and what we like. And I'm still trying to figure out kind of what I want to use moving forward. I did pick up a new racket, and yeah, I'll just kind of go through it with Bryce and kind of get his feedback as well. And yeah, let's get to it.
Cool. So I don't know. First things first is like the flashy thing is your racket. So you picked up a new racket?
Yeah, I bought the new RF01.
Oh, really?
Yeah, yeah. The pro so I I bought the standard version and then I felt like it was too light, so I bought the pro version and I like the weight better. And I just got the recommended string setup from Wilson and I I actually don't really like the string setup, so I've been playing around with three different string setups, and I still like the Hyper G at 55 pounds with the Pro Staff 97.
So for context, like the RF is the new Roger Federer racket, his like actual like signature name racket, and it comes in three weights, right?
Yeah, yeah, they come in three different weights. So the RF was like like supposedly his last racket that he played with, right? Or
Oh,
that
it's gonna be
design
his
style.
last.
The RF97 version 13, yeah, I think that's the last version. I mean, obviously his version is much different than what you get from the store, but yeah, that's what he ended up with because the RF I don't think he played with the 14. It,
Do you mean the Pro Staff?
yeah, the Pro Staff.
Oh, okay, okay.
Oh yeah, sorry. I had it mixed up. So because Pro Staff has an RF version as well. So
Yes, yeah, yeah, yeah.
The RF01 is like the one he never played with on tour. It was just the one that he designed or worked to design.
Yeah. Okay. And like the for Wilson, their recommended like string out of the box is like a hybrid, right?
No, it is I believe it's a Luxilon.
I've seen like where they do Luxilon Alu Power, which is like what I have here. This is like super old from like when I first started playing. Um, and then there's like the like they ask you to do that with a hybrid with a NXT Sensation or something. Wilson Sensation or Wilson NXT.
I want to say it's the Alu, the one that you just showed. So let me check my order real quick and see if it's on there.
Your own? Oh, right, because you bought the racket. That's crazy.
Okay. It comes with the Alu Power 125.
Yeah.
Um, it's strung at 52 pounds across the mains and the crosses.
LA Power, 125 Big Banger and Rough Big Banger.
This one just says power. It doesn't say if it says rough or big banger.
Yeah, it used to be called Big Banger.
Okay.
These are very old packaging, like stuff, because I stole them from Dad when we were in Florida.
Oh.
And they're super old. Like when I started playing tennis, that's what it looked like is with the Big Banger logo. And like Lux Salon was like its own thing
Uh,
instead of now being part of like Wilson.
so what are you using? What are you using now?
Actually, I went to the store to specifically ask them to give me my reel because I use Yonex Polytor Pro. I don't know if you can see it, kind of. It's the yellow string of Yonex, the yellow poly. Uh and yeah, like I guess I was talking to Lyman the other day. Like basically like I use very soft strings because I think personally I have difficulty controlling and like mitigating the ball sometimes, and I prefer having more cushion. For me, I like to feel the ball a lot more and also have like more elasticity when I'm hitting. So I prefer really soft strings. So like Polytor Pros one. Yonex makes a bunch of soft strings. The blue one is also I forgot, it's like Polytor Spin. That's their light blue one, and that one's also quite soft. There's 4G by Luxilon. That's also super soft. I'm trying to think of other ones. Like Head, I don't really know if they have like any soft ones. Link's Touch is super soft.
I don't really have a lot of experience with string. So for the most part, I've used RPM Blast a lot.
Yeah.
And my experience with that was like it felt great for a couple hours. And then afterwards, like I completely lose control. Maybe it's in my head, I don't know. But as soon as I like switch to fresh strings, like I regain control again. I would say like maybe like 2 or 3 weeks. And then I could start feeling like, hey, something's a little off, or I
And,
start hitting like way out.
and you're playing like 3, 4 times a week, and then so 3, 4 times a week, right?
Yeah, yeah. At that time, I think I was still playing three or four times a week, at least like 1 or 2 matches a week, plus hitting with Leslie.
Yeah. I feel like that's a big thing is like RPMs or all strings are nice when they start and when they're freshly strung, but then because like you're stretching out the string by hitting the ball, they go through these like different periods of like when they're inconsistent versus when they become consistent again versus like when they're just like completely dead. Some strings like start really fresh and then they go through this period of we're playing fine, and then at some point you lose like that consistency, and then like as you hit that kind of like resets itself, and then it loses itself again, and then it resets itself, and then it eventually pops. So like different strings with their different characteristics, they go through these cycles, and they have more cycles or less cycles in my opinion from what I've noticed.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I heard that about RPM Blast. I don't know if I ever got far enough. I think I've only broken one set of strings with RPM Blast. I'll like restring it once it kind of gets inconsistent. And then eventually I switched to a hybrid setup. So I had like natural gut on the mains, and then I had the Alu Power Rough, I think, on the crosses. And I really liked, I mean, the setup, but it was just too expensive to maintain.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
I switched. So after that, I played that for a long time, actually. There'd be times when like I string it for like 3 weeks, and it would I would pop the string and I would have to get it restrung. And yeah, it just got too pricey for my level of play, even though it felt great. And
Mm.
then at that point, I wanted to try different strings. And right now, like I have like Hyper G from Solinco, and trying to string it at different. I tried to string it like with different weights. So like I had 55, and then I tried 52.
Because what put you on Hyper G initially?
Leslie actually has Hyper G, so I was like, oh, okay, I'll give it a try, and I think this would be a good opportunity, like to figure out what strings would be good to try, and I might as well just try a bunch of strings and see if I find something that I actually like or that fits me a little bit better. Um, I was I had a match yesterday and I played with all three rackets. Well, two rackets I played during the match, and then one I used for warm up. And I could kind of feel, I definitely noticed the difference between going from 52 to 55.
Mhm.
Like obviously I have more control and it just felt like I was connected to the ball a lot better.
At 52 or 55?
55.
Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's pretty normal, I would say.
Yeah.
Like what I was gonna show people is that like in my opinion, like strings kind of go through this graph. Um, or like it starts at like this is your starting tension, this is like when it pops, and it kind of like drops and like you get this wave of inconsistency, but it settles really quickly. And then it kind of has this like mid phase as you keep playing and it adjusts itself. It's like fine. It kind of drops off a little as you play it. And then towards this like super long tail end where some strings are very like this section where it has this huge drop in tension and like control, like that can last for like several matches or like not matches, but like quite a while, and it's really frustrating to play through like this part where it just like sucks. And then right as you're about to pop it, it like gets better and more consistent.
Yeah. I don't pop poly apparently, but um
I don't know if you've ever like experienced that kind of cycle of life with your strings.
I haven't changed my strings for a while now, actually.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
I think because I've just been rotating rackets the last 2 months. But yeah, I haven't popped popped any of the strings and I haven't restrung. But now that I feel like the 55 is probably where I like this particular string at. So I don't know. Actually, here's my question. How should I test strings? I think I like sticking with my pro staff for now.
Yeah.
And if I just want to go look for a string that I think would fit, I mean, the Hyper G at 55, I think is fine. I think I play okay with it. Like, what should I look for in the string, I guess?
um I think one thing that's like a big decider is like price point. So everybody like plays well with certain strings like RPM and like Alu power, right? But those strings are really expensive. So if you were to like well, the point I'm getting to is like you everyone has a different playing style and you have strings that like are built to almost play with every single play style out there, but those strings are usually very high quality, very expensive. Yeah, and it's just like something that's like not affordable. So for example, like if you could afford it, like I think there was a period of time where a lot of pro tour players in the top 10 or 20 that could afford it would play with alu power and gut, but that's like if regular people did that, that's kind of unaffordable. So like your best bet is to look for an alternative that kind of fits your play style. So you want a string that to your style has good feeling and allows you to manipulate the ball well and doesn't injure yourself. So that third one's kind of interesting because some people will pick strings, like some of my friends that I know, and they try them. They feel great, but then it gives them like tendonitis or like vibration pain from playing with it, from serving or volleying. Like maybe not, maybe on their ground strokes they feel fine, but then with service play, they actually start feeling pain over time. So
Oh,
that's
wow.
also kind of like a third one that people don't really pay attention to. So moving forward is like for me, for my example, I don't generate a lot of pace by myself. I sometimes have trouble doing so, and form wise, I'm trying to fix that. But previously, or in general, I still kind of need something that helps assist with pace. Um, so for me, while I'm hitting with really hard hitting people and trying to kind of counter punch and you move their weight around with the tennis ball, I like softer strings because it helps me cushion their impact, and it's also more elastic. So it's generating more energy for me versus like a stiffer string with more control. It's not going to generate as much power coming off the racket.
That makes sense.
But like with like stiff strings that like have a lot of control, like you have to be able to control that, because they're like very rigid, very like unforgiving in terms of what they're allowing you to do. So if you are hitting at a certain angle, let's say cross court, and your racket isn't with those really stiff strings, it's not facing like the correct cross court direction, it's going to go towards the direction that's facing. It's not going to allow you any leeway versus something that's more elastic or more round or like softer playing gives you, in my opinion, more leeway to like more ways to manipulate the ball without having so many errors.
I mean, we're going into like downtime, so I feel like I want to test out kind of like the range of
Yeah,
strengths, right?
yeah.
And see what 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 feels good, what I hit well with. I seem to like higher tension more than I do lower tension, or I learned to control lower tension. I guess,
Yeah,
right? What I noticed, like it's a little bit more forgiving when I'm at a higher tension. At the
in
lower,
terms of error.
yeah,
Yeah, because you're getting more control back.
yeah.
So, like basic physics, lower tension gives you more power, less control. What I would say is like you should kind of like pick a set of strings that you like. First, just start with like one tension for all of them. As
Hmm.
you go through each one, which like generally I think you learn by word of mouth. As you go through each one, you decide whether you like it or not, like whether it's kind of meeting your needs. If it's durable, if you're getting spin, if you're getting control, some strings are really slippery, some strings don't really manipulate well. If it's ticking some of these boxes, but not all, consider like, would this string be better if I was hitting at a lower tension, or does it just suck for me? Or if it would be better at a higher tension, for example, or does it just suck? Do I like this string, but there's too much power, so I have to tighten it up? Or do I like this string, but it feels very stiff, so I have to loosen it? Because like for example, I grabbed Dad's Link's Touch, which I know my range is like between 49 and 52. And at 52, it felt good, but it didn't feel like it had the pop that I wanted. Um, and it felt very muted and quiet versus like, but it felt steady, which is good. So with that, if I still had another set of Link's Touch, which I don't, I would say looking at it, okay, if I drop my racket tension down to 48 or 49, would that give me the pop that I want? And the second part to that is like that was with me switching rackets from something that was 16-19 to 18-20. So 18-20 being a more closed pattern gives me more control, but it's also going to feel really muted and really silent. Um, Versus like a 16-19 is very open pattern and gives you a lot of like explosivity. Like it's just like very high energy play versus there's less energy with the close pattern. So
I mean, it's a lot, right? You're talking about like at a higher level, there's all these things that you guys consider, and at 3-0, 3-5, a lot of times we're just trying to think like, can we hit the ball back in play? It's like I don't think a lot of people understand like the depth of string and racket, and it's so much.
yeah, what I'm like even more so surprised is like the fact that you rotate through brackets. Like a lot of people sometimes because like as a junior or as like an adult, like you're not gonna like buy five rackets. You buy maybe three or something, or like one or two, and then one or two more over time. That people sometimes they play with only one and then they save one for match play, or they play with two during training and they save one freshly strung one for match play, or like they'll restring for matches and things like that.
Well, I'm only rotating now because I'm trying to figure out what string I want, but typically I'll play with one and then
Oh, okay. So it's not,
yeah.
that's not, yeah.
Yeah. I don't rotate normally. It's just right now I'm playing around with strings and seeing what I like and what I don't like. And
So wait, so if you're testing strings, what strings are you trying so far that you're rotating with right now?
I tested the Alu Power. I think Alu Power. I don't know. I have to check downstairs. And then it was I think it's the one I'm using now at a 55. And it was okay. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it. I was testing that plus the Hyper G, and I preferred the Hyper G at 55 pounds. And then now I was playing with like tension, and I definitely prefer 55 just because it's more forgiving. And I do
Why
like 52 if I can control it better.
why do you like uh Hyper G over Alu Power?
I felt like I had more control. I don't know. Alpha Power felt like a springboard. Like I couldn't, like if I was on point, yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess it comes down to more skill. I don't know. Like I can definitely tell when I come over the ball more on the 52, I get better shape to the ball. But otherwise, like if I'm not fully paying attention, it'll always go out. Like it tries to come back down, but
Yeah.
I either I don't have enough or I hit it or my racket was too open.
I will say I feel like you do take pretty not big swings, but like pretty firm, solid swings. So being one hand, like the racket that you use is rather heavy compared to other people. So you could like tightening up, I think is a good way to go. Even further into like the realm of strengths, there's also like different gauges. I don't know if you've paid attention to that.
Yeah, there's like a 16, 17. I think there's 18 too, right?
Yeah, and different, and even then, like an 18 on a Yonex string is, or 16 on a Yonex string is not the same as a 16 on like a Dunlop or a Head or a Wilson.
Yeah, I had a when I was using the RPM Blast, I was at a 16 gauge. For the Hyper G, I'm at a 17 gauge. But I've been using, I guess those are stiffer strings. I don't know, right? I don't know
I
if
think so.
they're,
Yeah,
so
I
maybe
think
I
that's true.
try something softer. I don't know, and see what it looks like.
You could try dad's recommendation, Link's Touch. I think it's softer than Hyper G, but if you strung it at 55, I think it suit you well.
Links Touch.
Let's actually go to tenniswarehouse.com. Not sponsored by Tennis Warehouse, but
Tennis
I
Warehouse, if
do
you like to sponsor one day, we're open.
I do feel like we've been, at least for me, I've been long term like fans or users of getting my crap from there.
I do. I do get stuff from them too.
I used to use a lot of Selinko Revolution,
Oh,
so
special guest,
comes the
future
child.
WTA world number one.
There's
You
some like hidden gems that I feel like are good here and there.
want to say hi to your Uncle Bryce? I guess you're going to be on our show.
I ISO Speed Cream is a good one. It's really comfortable.
Which one?
I'm on their website. So if you go to tenniswarehouse.com, you go like scroll a little bit. Yeah,
Oh,
I'm just like on the polyester string page. Going for like if I scroll through, I guess you can do this later. While I'm talking about Adrenaline, never played with. Polytor Drive Soft. I assume just plays like Polytor Drive or Polytor Pro. Ionic strings all play more or less similar. Oh, tidbit with Ionic strings. I think everyone generally agrees they die kind of fast, but and Yonex products in general, they're rack not I'm saying they don't like them, but Yonex rackets and Yonex strings, when you play with them like the first couple times, so for the racket to be like a couple weeks or months, or 1 or 2 months versus like strings would be a couple hours, like they kind of die, they feel great. And then later down the line, I don't know why they die really fast. And they feel very dead and they don't feel as great as when you start. So
Do you keep playing until
with
do you
their strings,
yeah, with the strings, or do you change them out once they feel dead?
when they die, they feel really, really dead. Depending on the occasion, I'll actually cut them. Like they feel bad enough that I want to cut them. And I'm assuming that pros do too. I don't understand the racket situation because I across the board I feel like everyone agrees, but I'm wondering if people get rackets more often than not because of how their rackets don't feel as great. Like
Hmm.
nothing's breaking in the racket itself, but it feels bad, or it just doesn't feel as amazing as when you first played with it. Head Sonic Pro I've never played with. Vortex never played with. Prince Tour never played with. Solinko Revolution I played with a lot. That was my string because it's really cheap. It's very, very like it's like the the most durable string out there. It's like a freaking cable. And it has these like polygon edges, so it gives you a lot of string. Sorry, spin. Gives you a lot of spin with those edges. So you can get like playing around with strings that have this like this edge shape could be interesting for you, Lyman.
Like what are some examples of that? And looks like Solinco Hyper G has like a soft version as well.
I'm trying to think. Let's go to Solinko. So yeah, anyways, on the first page, ISO speed cream is a good string. I like it. I don't know why I don't play with it. Maybe because I still have this reel of Yonex. That's why. Solinko page, Hyper G 16 and 16L. Hyper G, Torbide's a really big one. Confidential.
I think I have a set of Tour Bite too. But I guess I could try some soft strings. Like since I have a couple extra well, I have three, well, I have to get one racket back. I can string like keep one hyper G just because I'm used to it, and
Yeah.
then string the other two and play around and see what I like and don't like about it.
Yeah, I would stick with whatever you're using and just keep switching between new ones. Like I think Hyper G soft would be good. I don't know if like because they're saying Hyper G is round, but so I think the shape of Hyper G soft is that this like stamp that they put. It has these like little protruding edges along the gold. I wonder if that's the case. No idea.
No
You should
idea.
try Hyper G soft.
Now, what gauge, like, what's the difference between the gauges? Like, why would you go with a 16, 17, or 18 gauge?
I don't really remember why I started playing with like 17 gauge. I think because I needed more control. I remember playing with 16 and it just felt like I was swinging like this paddle or like this like very chunky feeling paddle. Yeah, it had like this very bulky feeling to it.
Okay.
I'm trying to, yeah, versus like when moved to a thinner gauge, I felt like I had more control. And it had more like, I think, yeah, it felt very like there was an edge to it. There was a bite to the ball. I felt like I was manipulating the ball better. Actually, let's read online what they say because I've talked about this at some point. I got it wrong and someone was like really upset about it. Okay, so logically, the thicker the string, the more durable it is. A thicker gauge is more durable and controlled, and a thinner gauge gives you a better feel, more comfort, and bite on the ball. So I think I think in terms of like string tension degradation, with a thicker gauge, you get a better, more smoother like experience in that sense. So you don't notice the like peaks and lows of like its inconsistency with the string tension. So that could be helpful. Maybe you get less tension loss.
Less tension
Yeah.
loss with the thicker string.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
People are playing with interesting strings. Yeah, so I don't know. I think Hyper G Soft could be a good pick. Torbite's one that I don't like because it actually gives me arm pain, surprisingly. I know it does for another friend of mine, but he also gets pain with RPM. Selinku Confidential, I hate. Yeah, it's stiffer than I would like. I hate. I think I think if I had to pick out a Selenko today, I would probably play with Vanquish or something. Or I think that's what I've played with before. Because Confidential was like the one recommended to me, but it's a lot stiffer than I want. Hyper G and Torbite, I think, sit above that in terms of like stiffness. But most people like growing up in junior tour, they played with Torbite or Hyper G. So yeah, Kirschbaum. I think any string like where that says the word Super Smash or like Big Power or something is usually what I play with. Like Kirschbaum Super Smash Orange, I love. That being said, it dies really quick. Strings with spin, Cyclone, Vocals, Cyclone, or Volky. I don't know how you say that brand.
Oh, vocal? I don't know.
The vocal Swedish one, whatever. That one's nice. It has a lot of spin, and I think it dies okay. RPM spin, RPM blast, rough. What is this? RPM blast is good. I
Yeah,
just I
I
just wouldn't
used
pay it for it.
I used to use RPM Blast Rough, was it? I think that's what I was using.
Goes in Sidewinder is really good. I really like Goes in Sidewinder. It's really really good. There's some people that say that like different string colors, even though it's the same make and model string, have have different properties. So like I think a big one, I don't know if this is controversial to say honestly. Where is it?
Which
If you
one?
go to Technifiber strings, where is it? Yeah, there it is. Technifiber. Okay, so Technifiber has this string. What's it called? NRG? No. Razor? No.
Is this 4S? Oh, are you on their website? No. There's a
I
razor code, carbon, $20.
maybe they don't make it anymore actually.
$20 string.
There's like a so okay, wait, no, Technifiber makes black code and red code. I don't know if they still make red code anymore. Oh, they do. Those are distinctly different strings, even though they just like are named differently. Or they're just sorry, even though it's just like a color difference in their terminology. But like if you go to Yonex, like Yonex makes a blue version, I think, of like a Polytor or something, something. And then they also make like a yellow version or like a red version. And those apparently play differently.
Oh, it it's supposed to be the same string but different color.
Yeah, but they play differently because of the color or something. And same thing with like I think Volky's Cyclone. The color, even though there's like a black one and an orange one, they play differently and so on. And then but like with Technifiber, those are distinctly different strings. Yeah, it's super weird. What else? You could try Kirschbaum. Black Shark could be interesting.
I can pick up a few.
I would stay away. The only string I would stay away from is Diadem. If you notice Diadem, so diamond themed brand, like their string is like a star shape, and that star shape wears out really really fast. So
Hmm.
even though you have like a lot of bite on the ball, it gets really it gets really really disgusting and like after like a very quick amount of play. Yeah, head I would recommend head links tour, head hawk touch, maybe a Kirschbaum, black shark. Those are ones that I think you can start like they have edges on them and things like that.
You said which one? The head links touch?
Yeah. Link's touch, head hawk touch. Head makes that's the thing though. Head when they say they want a softer string, I think they add touch to the end. So I think there's like head hawk normal and like head hawk touch. Let's actually check. Yeah. If you go on Tennis Warehouse below head links, there's head hawk and then head hawk touch. So I would do a regular head hawk if I was you. And then same thing with links. I would just do regular head links instead of head links touch. I think it's Kirschbaum that has the pro line problem. Whoa, Kirschbaum's pro line's so cheap. You know what I think what I'm talking about is that they Kirschbaum used to have I don't know if Lyman even knows what I'm talking about. Kirschbaum used to have like pro line and I think it came in red and people said that red because it had red and black and I think Someone said that red or black doesn't, one of them doesn't play good, and so they got rid of it maybe. Kirschbaum makes a pro line black and a pro line red, and one of them suck. So I think they got rid of the red one. Yeah, I would maybe try Headhawk 17. That one you can maybe start at 55 and then drop down to 52 as you come off the like this like slow week.
Okay, so if we were to pick three strings, we have head hawk. What else?
Links, you could try head links. You can try Proline, Kirschbaum Proline. There's a sale for reels on Kirschbaum.
Well, I figure I'd just get one, right?
No, I'm telling for people who I don't end up watching, I guess, like
Oh,
if they want a reel.
get a
Um,
reel.
I'm tempted. Actually, I don't know because they're saying that yeah, I like Proline because it's soft. Maybe you should not play with Proline.
Well, might as well give it a try.
Well, you yeah, now you can try it and tell us what you think. I guess Lyman's ordering right now.
Yep, I sure am. Should I try the touch version of them?
You could, yeah. I imagine it's not what you want, but you could. Do people I don't know who ends up watching this, but if people like think Proline's a shitty string, please let us know.
Comment below. We'll
Comment
be checking.
below.
Yeah.
Yeah. A string I really like that I won't play with because it's expensive is NX Wilson NXT. It feels like natural gut. It feels better in my opinion, and it feels like much more comfortable. It's a very comfortable string to play with.
Should I try the ISO cream?
You could. It's probably too soft for you because if I think it's soft and I like it, I don't think you'll like it.
That's why we're testing strings.
It's
See.
a deep dive that is it's your own journey.
Or should I find a spin one?
You could do a spin one. Yeah. Um, you can do a diadem and tell us what you think. Tell us why people don't play with it.
Great. It actually
Maybe
doesn't
get
show up on
devoted.
this. It doesn't show up on the spin category, funny enough.
Really.
Yeah, the only ones that come in for spin is the RPM Blast, Alu Power, Power Rough, Yonex Poly Tour Drive, Yonex Poly Tour Drive Soft, Technofiber, Prince Vortex, Hyper G, actually, in 16 and 17 gauge, Tourbite, Kirschbaum Spiky Black,
Maybe try you could try Onyx. Why not? Um,
Yonex
I would just go through every
Tour,
string.
Yonex Polytour Drive or Drive Soft.
I would do drive. The polyester monofilament. Is control the one that has oh, this is RPM Blast.
All right, here's the fun stuff.
Oh,
Stringing. You can string your own rackets, Bryce.
yeah, I do. If if I have a machine.
What do you do when you don't have a machine?
I find a good reputable stringer who's like a local person who strings basically. Here, because I'm abroad in Spain, I don't have a machine. So I kind of just find the cheapest stringer there is. That being said, sometimes like stringers do provide service in terms of like some places do provide service in terms of like modification for your racket or like recommendation or like they're just really good about providing timelines and like like making sure your racket's like always available like and ready and strung. So sometimes paying a little extra for that doesn't hurt,
True.
especially for me because I only have three rackets, which is not a lot in my one of which I will sell. So I'll only have two eventually. Yeah. Why do you ask?
Well, at what point do you feel like people should string or not string? I guess is
Like why do some of us string and not string? I think if you're quite young and you know you're playing like 3, 4 times a week, you should learn to string. That being said, it depends on your value of time. If your value of time is not very high, and you have a lot of time, I would say stringing is the way to go. Because in the United States, what's the price that you pay? Like, how much do you pay to string with bringing your own string?
25 is the average. And you can find some guys that will do it for 15. I don't know how consistent they are. And they typically have like a long timeline. So the guy I use, uh, he strings at Indian Wells, he strings at US Open, and he charges me $25 and he also rewraps my overgrip.
Yeah, I feel like in the United States, if you have a solid like income coming in, I think 25 is okay to ask somebody. And I assume that like in my head, if I wasn't popping a string, if I was popping a string more than every other week, then I would string my own rackets. But if I'm popping strings like once a month or once every 3 weeks, then I would probably pay somebody. The other thing is like when you pay someone to string your racket, if they're not like located in your club or where you play, it's like a pain in the butt to go and pick up your racket, right? Like I personally don't like doing that.
Yeah. So in my case, he's not super far, but he's not super close.
Yeah.
Um, but he like I can go drop off the racket and he'll get it to me in like half an hour. Depending on his schedule. If he's not too busy, like it's pretty good.
The real question is like for that person, right? Is that his full-time job? Does he own a shop that's open all the time, stringing?
No, he does
So
it out of his house.
like, but that's not his full-time job.
I have no idea. I never asked. But I mean, I assume it's probably what he does.
The thing is like there's a lot of people who string, right? And that's but there's like it's their second job. So they string in like weird hours and then in the daytime, like from 9 till like 4, they're out of their house sometimes. I mean, post COVID, maybe more people will stay at home. But the other thing I don't like about asking someone else to string who strings out of their house, like unless I know them through you, if I know them from someone else that I don't know as well, I'm really reluctant to give them their racket, give them my racket, and like leave it with them and then have to find another time to like pick up the racket again after several days. It's just frustrating, like, because it feels like I'm having to schedule and make appointments more often than I really need to.
Yeah. Well, he's actually pretty convenient. Like I can drop off two rackets and it'll be done in an hour.
Yeah,
So
not everyone is that fast.
yeah, no, like other like what I've heard is like other people t it takes like days to get your racket.
Yeah, yeah.
He's been really good. So time value of money, I think. I mean, except for as I'm testing out these strings, yeah, I think I'll probably just stick with him unless like I have to string for Ellie when she gets older, and also, but Yeho doesn't will never pop a string probably, so I don't know. All right, who knows?
Yeah. For me, I think the threshold is like if you get beyond, if you're stringing, if you get beyond popping at one string a month, or like you're popping a string every week or a string every 2 weeks, I think that's more than enough to like be like, yeah, I should string my own racket. It's just like, do you have time? And can you afford the machine? Because it is like a big one-off purchase to have a nice machine.
True.
Uh, Yeah, that's my only gripe with it is that like a nice stringer, like I think if you're going to buy a stringer, you should put in the money to buy an electric one. That being said, not everyone has the budget to do that, or they don't feel comfortable doing that. So even then, like it's a lot of money to drop. I think if you were popping once every 2 weeks and you were not gonna buy, you for sure you knew you were not gonna buy an electric stringer, you should buy a stringer then and stop paying someone else to string your rackets because a mechanical stringer is like 1,000 or 800 max, like a nice one. They go to Tennis Warehouse, like Torna has a drop weight that's $600. I don't even know what alpha is. I've never seen that in my life. Wow, there's not as many stringers as I thought these days.
Or you can pay $6,000 for a head machine.
Or you could pay $6,000 for a head machine, but like tennis,
Like gamma progression is like 1,600 bucks.
yeah, I think if you really think about it, like an electric one is the way to go. Like that gamma progression is probably where you want to be, and it sets you up really well. You pay like at the rate that like Lyman says, which is $25. Like if you pop one every 2 weeks, after 2 weeks of paying, you've paid it off more or less. Maybe like a little bit more, like 3 years of playing, whatever. But that means you can pop more strings, or you can restring and try different strings more consistently, or you're playing a tournament weekend, you need a rush job, like you can do it yourself. If you play a lot and you're popping strings consistently, I think you should string your own rackets. You just do it while you're watching TV or something.
Well, I mean, we were watching Keiko string and she just like super fast. I think she was what, 15, 20 minutes, something like that.
Yeah, yeah, it doesn't even end up taking that long. The oh, that was the thing, is like, yeah, if you don't want to spend that much, like there's mechanical stringers, but the price gap from a mechanical to like an electronic, the lowest tier like electronic one's not that far away. So if you go to Tennis Express, which I also use, but the cheapest like electronic one is 16 to 1800, and like a nice mechanical one is like 800 to 1200. At that point, if you can, I would just spend the extra bit to buy an electric one.
Yeah, I would probably do that. Yeah.
It's also really fast. Once you get an electric one, it's insanely fast to start stringing.
Yeah, then I just need to learn how to string. Is the other.
I think if you're playing enough, like you're almost at the cusp of it, Lyman, where like if you have the time and you start improving towards the point where you're popping strings consistently, I would say maybe it's time to think about stringing your own rackets.
Yeah.
But if you're willing to pay for the convenience, by all means.
Well, that's the thing. Like driving into the city isn't that convenient for me. That's
Your
why
your
I've been contemplating it.
your person's in the city.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I feel like if you know you've been that's the thing, is like your schedule, right? If you know you've been watching TV here and there, like in like hour, half hour segments. Like if like you that can be your time to string your racket. So in terms of time, it's not that bad.
I definitely can. I mean, there's slots of time where I can definitely get it done.
And some people that string consistently that run shops, I won't say who, but they definitely like don't pull the string through the racket correctly and start making these grooves that cut into the string, and your string pops even faster. And maybe people don't notice. So
Yeah, maybe we can have Keiko on for a stringing lesson.
Keiko might, yeah, would be a good person to call and to give us more insight about strings and what they felt in terms of stringing lessons. Yeah, she's kind of hard to get though.
Yeah, bribe her with something.
So she's a busy gal. Yeah.
Okay, well, that's our discussion on strings and racket, and we didn't really talk too much about rackets. It was really just about strings this time.
We can talk about rackets and shoes next session.
All right, we'll talk
I feel
about
like that's
rackets and shoes.
bags, rackets, shoes, bags, big ticket items.
All right, sounds good. So check back, hit that like, comment, subscribe, and we'll be talking about shoes, bags, and rackets next time. And we'll eventually get back to my tennis. All
We
right.
can just ignore it because it's so much more interesting to talk about gear. No, no, no. It's a joke.
All right. Thanks, everybody. See you guys.